Hello everyone, welcome back to another art process video. So today this piece is called The Thinking Girl. So normally for a lot of my videos I like to do like art time lapses where I kind of speed through the process. This video is a little bit different in that it has just on time process. Like I'm not speeding it up, this is just like the normal speed that I'm drawing at. And also, unlike other videos, I usually start with like a blank slate, and now you're really coming in when I'm like near the finishing process and like well into the drawing. And let me explain what's happening here. So there's been a drastic change in my art routine nowadays just because my kids no longer nap, or at least one of them do not. So I no longer have that designated block of time at home on the weekends to work on my art. As a result, I've really had to look at where are gaps that I can find time to draw, and right now I've been doing most of my art during my designated lunchtime at work. So as a result, I don't really have the full staging at work with my cameras and also my specific hanger to film everything. So I can only film partial processes as I am drawing or painting with one hand and filming with the other. We'll see if the situation changes in the next months or years. I'm really trying to be flexible and trying to integrate this into my family life. So this is what it's going to be, at least for the short period. So this piece is called The Thinking Girl. I started off with acrylic wash, and then after I let it dry, I use my wax pencils. I'm using my Prismacolor in this case to add in gradient and different highlights. So for this video I want to really focus on the finished product and walk through how I did it and what the intentions are. So here you can see that there are pencil marks with the wax color pencil over the gouache itself, and it creates a really nice gradient. When you look further closer up, then you can see the pencil marks. But when you back up and look at the bigger picture, you'll see more of the gradient, and you don't really focus or see the details of the color pencils. I really love how this piece turned out. It was actually from a Pinterest image that I saw, and I'm just playing around with it. At this moment, I'm not looking to reproduce this for sale or anything. It's more for fun and just enjoying and learning art techniques for myself. So here you can see I've added a little window with a person kind of looking out the window on the opposite side of where this girl is looking. So the idea behind this piece is just talking about basic anatomy, and that's why you can see the bone, the rib cage, and the collarbone, and the neck bones and so forth. And there's flowers and nature around the girl as well. My intention for this piece is to go back to the basic, to the anatomy, and looking into the origin of why we do what we do. I think a lot of what we do is, for me personally, is driven by emotion and thought and thinking. So that is why for this girl, she's just looking up in the sky and just pondering and thinking. And at the same time, you can see right above her ear, I've opened up a hole with a window of a little person, which is kind of her inner child also looking out the window and pondering, thinking, but they're looking in opposite directions. And that's just a reflection of how I wonder how much of our time in life is just sitting there and thinking backwards of what we've done in the past and forward and what we plan to do in the future, and that how much of it is thinking versus action, and what is the right balance for it. For me, I still struggled about how much do I reflect and how much do I actually act on emotion. For this piece, you can see for the girl, she has a little bit of white glistening in her eye, and I really love that twinkle in her eye, that she is still curious and she is still pondering and wondering and curious about the world. And I wonder if over time a lot of us become jaded and we don't think so much about why we do what we do. It becomes a routine, it becomes instinct. Half the time when I'm hanging out with my kids, they ask the most interesting questions, and I feel really intrigued by it. One example is we talked about cheeses the other day. I know it's totally unrelated to this drawing, but hear me out here. So they asked me where does cheese come from? Do cows produce cheese? Do pigs produce cheese? Do chicken produce cheese? And we kind of go into this dive, and I'm like, I never thought of these things. Like I thought about goat cheese, cow cheeses, but like I never thought about all these other animals. And like I love how curious they are, and they ask these questions, and they don't like just accept things as they are. And I wonder how many of us, as we grow older, we just accept what is given to us, what is served to us, and we don't question whether there's a better way or there's a right way, or like is there a more balanced way of doing it. So for this piece, it's called The Thinking Girl. I love the idea that like there is thought and curiosity in the world, and there's where the nature and the flowers that surround her. I feel like there are just so many ideas I have when I was drawing this. Like I didn't even have a clear organization of it, and I feel like this drawing really outlines that, how like I am just so everywhere about, should I think forward, should I think backwards, am I thinking too much, and going back to the anatomy of things, like is it like thinking is a good thing, what's a good balance between action, because a lot of times we think so much that we don't actually end up doing it. So yeah, this painting is kind of me in exploration about some of these like ideas and philosophy, especially being a mother of two now. I think about a lot of these things about like what my values are and what I hope my children's value will be, and like things I should instill on them. But going back to the painting itself, I did really enjoy how it turned out. Of course, it's based on another piece of artwork that I saw on Pinterest, so it's like more of a trial and error and practicing different colors and techniques. But like I love the shade of pink for her hair, and pink is not necessarily like a color I'm drawn towards usually when I'm painting girls' hair. But I love how there are these like stitch marks on the bottom of her jaw, and we're just like sewing and putting ourselves together. And even looking at her skin tone, you can see it's not like a perfect flowing like beige or like regular skin tone. There are like shades of blue and reds in between that makes it like so interesting. So here's a closer look at the piece. I want to thank you for taking the time to join me in this painting of The Thinking Girl. And if you are still watching this video at this point, I appreciate it very much if you would consider giving this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. It will really mean a lot. Thank you so much for considering, and hopefully I will see you in the next video. Stay safe and stay creative, everyone. Bye for now.